Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome, everybody, to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. I've got to tell you, I keep telling you this, and I keep telling you this. I've got another really exciting guest for you today. And her name is Audrye Arbe. And she does so many things. But the thing that amazes me, first of all, I got to tell you, is that she's in her 8th decade. And she got on an airplane and flew to Costa Rica by herself and packed up all of her stuff and moved into a place. Now she's packing up again and moving to another place. Can I say this again? You're in your 8th decade, for heaven's sakes. You are amazing. You are a transformation goddess. You are a diversity expander. You do so many things. You write books. You're an artist. You do readings. I'm honored to have you here, young lady.
Thank you, Kevin. I am honored to be here. That's really an astounding intro. Thank you so very much. Yes.
It is. I can't believe the person that you are, because most people that are in their, 6th decade are contemplating their demise and just sitting around watching TV and stuff like that. And you are traveling the world, and you're still doing your art, and you are doing readings, and you're a clairvoyant, you're a healer, you're a frequency shifter. You do all kinds of things that I think a lot of people would like to be able to do, but for whatever reason, you have conquered all of the fears and things that go along with that to just say, I'm just gonna. Is that how it worked for you, that you just decided you were just gonna?
It's not quite that simple, and I wouldn't say conquered all my fears, but what I do know, and most people who are in any kind of evolutionary path will know, this fear is not something to hold on to. According to many people, this is either fear or there's love. And given the choice, I would go for love all the time. Fear is when a person either doesn't know something, they don't trust themselves, they don't know who they really are. Like, I spell the word self, capital S, little s, E-L-F, and the capital S stands for soul, essence, self, and the little s stands for ego, personality, self. And it's been my experience that I'd say more people than not identify with the ego, personality, self, and they think that is who they are. That is not who we are. That's like a characteristic. We have a personality. It's kind of a thing we need on the third dimensional earth, but that's not our essence. And to touch one's essence, at least for me, you have to meditate, do some kind of way of getting quiet, either that or have some kind of altered experience. And I don't mean you have to use drugs or other things, although sometimes some of that, depending on what it is and how one uses it and under what guidance, can be of help. Most people don't do it that way, but it can be. But I call myself a born mystic intuitive. It's the way I think since I'm little, and I laugh at that because I am not a tall person. I get teased about that, about since you're little. Because I'm 4'10" now. I was tall at 5 foot and half an inch. That was tall. I'm 4'10" now, under 100 pounds. And when I was a kid, little, and I would, just the way I would think and look at stuff, I didn't know then it was called a mystic. It's just the way I am. And I was born in Brooklyn. Do you know Brooklyn at all? I was born in...
I ain't been there yet. I got to go there because I just love the accent that they do when you go to, like New York or Brooklyn or Pennsylvania, any of those places.
They're all different. So I was born in Brooklyn. The family moved when I was 8. So what I'll talk about was probably I was 7 or younger, because soon after I was 8, we moved. And I remember sitting on, we called it the stoop. You didn't sit on the steps, you sat on the stoop. So I remember sitting on the stoop in front of my building, steps building, and I'd look at some of the people that walked by. I was a very quiet kid, and I would be feeling and assessing and asking myself, how did they do that to themselves? Because I could feel and see the sadness in them or other feelings. I mean, I could just notice, okay? And if they were walking a little bent, if they were kind of out of shape, I thought, what did they do to themselves? And I remember thinking that and holding it quietly, because there was no one to talk with about this. This was not the conversation in my family. That just was not. So I early on was perceiving people and looking at people and other things and wondering, why is it like this? Why is it like this? Because I saw people holding on to pain and upset and anger. I could feel it. And I didn't understand why. And I'm someone who always wants to understand. So I prayed for understanding. One, to understand that, and then two, for someone to understand me, because let's just say I wasn't that easily understood by the family, because I would ask questions that I was told nobody asked that kind of question.
Well, if you, for those of you that maybe missed the opening, since Audrey is in her 8th decade, we're talking about the 1940s and 50s. That was a completely different time, and
Totally.
you just didn't talk about anything that would be of the arts or any mystical things, and because that was in many circles, that is of the devil, and you didn't talk about that kind of stuff.
Well, I know it just wasn't. It wasn't the devil necessarily in my family, but it was like I was literally told nobody asks the questions you do. There are
Yes.
no answers. And my way of thinking is I couldn't believe, number one, there's no answers. That just didn't compute. We didn't have computers, but that didn't compute. And I knew there were answers, and I wanted to find someone. That's why you said seekers. I've been a seeker since, okay? Because I wanted to know. And that's been part of my life, actually, learning and discovering some of this stuff. And I am happy to say, I really am happy to say that I know some of this stuff. And because I, quote, know some of this stuff, I also know, and you're going to see me laughing at this, that what I may even think I know in the next little space of space time, may not even be what it is. I mean, when I discovered that in, what is it, quantum physics, quantum something,
Yep.
that when
Quantum
you're
physics.
looking at something, it affects the outcome. And now I'm doing, have you heard of Nassim Haramein, the physicist? Do you know
Yes.
his name? Okay. Have you done his course, Resonant? Everybody, this is free. You can look at this is free. Resonance Science, RESONANCE science.org. I'm doing it. And I will say up front, I'm an intelligent person, okay? Some of this language, it's not like regular English, it's physics.
Yeah.
And I have to look up some of these words. And I mean, I've written books. I know words. I know, I don't know these words. And I have to, 5 minutes later, it's like, what was that? But I'm going through it slowly because I can't do it quickly, because it's like, and I'm almost done. And I'm going to call it the new physics. Probably Nikola Tesla knew this, but Nikola Tesla's stuff was, in my personal opinion, stolen and then buried and taken away from him and all of that. And so the new physics, unified physics, is, as a healer, as a whatever you want to call me, I know that everything is connected. I've been saying it for years. Could I explain why and how? No, I couldn't. I didn't have that knowledge. I just know. And I know that we can affect the universe, and all of this is the universe. You are, I am, everything is. And Nassim, I say it like I know him, like he's my good friend. Okay. Nassim, Nassim and his team, through mathematics, with symbols I wouldn't even know how to explain. You have to look at this stuff. It's like, have actually proven all this stuff. The universe is alive, everything is alive, everything is connected. This sounds like metaphysics. Everything is connected. That things that some people thought were impossible. There were some physicists who said quantum physics and cosmic physics don't match and you can't put them together, which never made sense to me. Because if it's quantum, which means it's teeny, weeny, tiny little, and cosmic is huge, 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 the huge, huge, huge has to be made of the teeny, tiny little. They didn't yank it from some other place and just throw it in. It just doesn't quite work like that, although I have some stories that maybe. And so they came up with formulas, and he explains how, which I'm not the one who can do that, and shows how it's all one. And from what I'm gathering through reading the seventh manual, and I'm not done yet, okay, they will have all of us, free energy. Can you even imagine free energy for anyone, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you, no matter what you may know or not know? There would be no need for any kind of fossil fuel or any of this. And so he still needs to be funded. And can you even begin to imagine the kind of world we can have?
Well, I'll tell you a couple things. Is that number one, in order for this world to still be here, we have to change how we develop energy, where it comes from, and so that we're not using fossil fuels anymore. We're not polluting the environment anymore.
Yeah,
And I really think that honestly that we're on a path of evolution to where that is going to happen, because it has to happen. And I think the universe is going to protect, and the earth is going to protect itself, and is going to I think that those things are just going to naturally evolve into, because like you said, Tesla. Well, Tesla is one of the first ones that said that we are all energy, that everything is energy, that everything is.
exactly.
And Einstein concurred with that it was that we are energetic beings in a physical body. Our bodies are run energetically, our brain is powered by energy, and everything that we are and everything around us, including a rock that you think is solid, at one certain point in the if you look deeply enough into that rock, and with a with a microscope or something, there is space between the molecules, and
Yep,
there's so much space that it looks like space. And
exactly.
and we look at it as being solid and firm, and this is a rock
Yes,
and it's dead. It is very much alive. You know that.
I do. I do. And I know, and years ago, I used to say, and I said it because I'm giving information, that everything is connected. And I remember certain people, many, how do you know? Prove it. That's something I did not know how to do, but I know when I do energy healings, I I you stand like this because I'm calling on the energy. I sit like that actually, and I lift my frequency. If you let me, I'll do even a short little breathing attunement so everybody can lift. Anyway, and I call on the energy to send out. Now I am not sending out like, see these hands. Okay, your hands. Okay, I don't pick up like a thing and throw a dart. I mean, energetically one could, but I made an agreement years ago. I was going to use this ability only for positive things because it can
Well,
be
that's
used in
good.
another way. Yeah, it can be used in another way. And it's not what I choose to do. And if I can channel, that's the word we usually use, energy into one of my clients and this and do whatever I do, and then later they'll tell me the result, not right then because they're in it like, meh. Okay, so like afterwards, maybe even the next day. And It's not a thing. I didn't throw that. And there is a difference. They can feel it. And when people can sense things, now we have this thing called quantum entanglement. Humans can have entanglement using the way it's used in physics, not like a messed up relationship. I'm not using it in that way. That one can do something here and in another place, it's experienced if you have a kind of quantum entanglement with another person, like twins. If one goes through something, the other one's going to know it wherever they are because of the particular kind of connection they have. So with the new physics, and I agree with you, I agree. I feel it is going to happen when it has to happen. And for any of the people or that have the naysaying and okay, I don't need to laugh at this, but I am going to laugh at this, who still go that there is no such thing as climate change. And have you been outside lately? Okay, so but or any of that kind of stuff, that's going to just get a less and less, even if there's a lot of people that make noise, because when somebody's quote unquote belief system is being shown to be, let's just say, incorrect, and we could all have incorrect, but absolutely not correct, wrong, like that whole thing with the Darwinian thing, that it's survival of the fittest, that's not how it works. That's the exact opposite of how it works. The way it works is cooperation, caring, love, helping one another. That's how it works. And it isn't that any of us are, excuse my language here, damned to hell. That doesn't exist. None of us are born with a blech on us. We are born, I do feel that we have karma. Okay, I definitely have that. I call it genetic karmic patterning. We are born with certain energetic frequencies that may relate to our predecessors, as well as what I'll call past lives, which we could have been anything in any kind of frequency, even in a different timeline. It's up to us when we're in the here and now to find how to heal that so we could evolve more and more and more and more. And if anyone wonders, do I have to do that also? Yes.
We all do. And as long as we are here, we're on a journey, and I call it the adventure of a lifetime.
Yes.
And you are having the adventure of a lifetime. I did want to make one thing clear about fossil fuels and coal and all the things that are being used today. When it ceases to be profitable, it will end, because we have got the technology, but they are
Yes, we
not
do.
they're not interested in change as long as they're making money doing what they're doing. But when it ceases to be profitable, then those changes will come, or when it becomes clear that if we don't change our ways, many people are going to die because of global warming, and
That's
then it
right.
will change. That's kind of the human way. It's always been that way. We're never forward thinking. We're always reactionary. You know what I mean?
Well, my attitude about that is I'm not going to say we, because I absolutely refuse to be included in that we. Okay.
Perfect.
I have had awareness since little. I remember sitting in my sixth grade class. So in sixth grade, let's see, we're 12 years old in sixth grade. I think we're 12.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
So I'm born 1940. So that would have been 1954. Okay. When I go do the math, when I was 12 years of age. Okay. And I remember sitting in class and we're talking about what we used to call I think we called it natural resources. And all of a sudden I get this information that we're going to run out of natural resources in your life, in my life. And I got scared. I'm sitting there in class, a kid, and all of a sudden I'm being shown that we're going to run out of natural resources. And most people didn't know that. This was 54. This was not the main conversation. And so I've known about stuff for a long time. And I feel, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying, I also feel that a lot of people, maybe some of them are the younger people, whether they're Gen Zs or Alphas or whatever's the one above it. I'm not that. I am a baby boomer, or even the one that's before it, if we want to get in these little categories. But I'm my own unique person. I always have been, because when I looked at, and we're all conditioned. All of us, that includes me. If we don't do something to break that conditioning, we're living a conditioning from our forebears, which is not a good thing. And when I saw certain things, I knew immediately, because I get a response in my body and in my mind, that I'm not doing that. And is it easy to kind of chart one's own course? No, it's not. It wasn't for me. It's not. I had to really develop self-love because I was incredibly insecure. It isn't like, oh, you're intuitive. That's so good. It's like, oh, you're intuitive. That and the subway token will give you a ride. Although we didn't have tokens then. Really?
Yeah, I have no idea what a token is worth anyway. But we're talking we're talking with Audrye Arbe, and you can go to her website, which is RD. Let me spell this for you:
Audrey.
AUDRY now NOW.com. That's Audrye AudreyEnow.com.
Yeah.
And go there, and she does a tremendous amount of things. She's a transportation she's a bus driver. She's a transformation goddess of light, a diversity expander, a mystic intuitive, a clairvoyant healer, frequency shifter. She's an author. She is she's a artist, and she also has started a nonprofit organization that I want to talk about before we're done today as well.
Okay.
But need to take a quick break, and we're going to return. And when we come back, I'm going to ask her if there aren't a lot of folks that have been around from born in the late 40s and have lived this period of time. And do you think that you came here with the purpose that this is the time and place that you wanted to be because of the impact that you could have? I'm going to ask her that when we come back. So
Okay.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. And we have a great guest for you today. She's an adorable lady of all of 4'10", and she's in her 8th decade. And I wanted to ask her because there are not a lot of people that are as on top of it as you are in your 8th decade, which you are. I think you're going to be around for another 8 decades. That's what.
Oh, thank you. I'll take it. Thank you.
But I wanted to ask you, do you think that part of your mission here is to be here during this particular time in history?
Yes, I absolutely do. Yes. In fact, I feel like perhaps I was born earlier than some people, not as early as others, because if you're born when I'm born, okay, there's a lot of stuff one had to go through to even get to here. The belief system was completely different. There was all kind of isms still. And I had to do a whole lot of growth and clearing and all of that because I was not taught to be what I am. I was more supposed to be whatever the good girl. I'm not saying I'm not a good woman. Don't misunderstand me. But like do this and then get married and then do this and then do that, which isn't quite the way I've done it. And the more a person clears my fancy word is junk. And if you want to spell it fancy, it's JUNQUE, otherwise JUNK. If we don't clear our limiting belief systems, if we don't work with that, with what I call genetic karmic patterning, which other people can call it ancestral conditioning. GKP goes deeper, 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 and everyone has it. You think you don't? Yeah, we all do. You get it even the minute you're born, and it's kind of happens even in the mom's womb. And I know that I'm here to be of help. I can feel it. And the way I've chosen to do that, because I have, how many do I have? I have 3 online courses. and I had done a lot of marketing, and I am mainly a creator, not a marketer. And so I asked for support in that. I could still like support in that. I have 4 books. I have a slew of art. Now it's called Audrye Art that opens the heart, and it does. And now I'm painting frequency stones, which are gorgeous. So my way is, and yeah, of course I do readings and healings. That's kind of a given with me, is to help people, help them. I help facilitate them to, one, have an understanding of what they actually are. And what we are is a spark of, I mean, I'm a little poetic, a sparkle of divinity running around in what we'll call a human body. And our job, our joy of being at this moment in time is to up level that frequency. And that includes me, to keep up leveling and up leveling and up leveling. And even if and when we see or involved in or read about what I'll call really horrible, yucky things, rather than get caught up in that energy, which is so easy to do. It's like an addiction. Rather than getting fully caught up in that end, I'm going to fight them, I'm going to this them, I'm going to that them. And then you're that which you don't want to be. Because when we lower our frequency like that, we've already in some ways lost the game. Because the way to move forward, and I've been shown this over and over and over again, is to really bring one's energy up high and create something new and different. That is the way my guides put it: create the world you choose to live in. Keep doing that. If the fighting, and I was in my 20s in the 60s, and if anybody knows anything about the 1960s, okay,
I do.
It was
I was there.
Yes, it was a time of a lot of action. In some cases, we could say unrest. It was the Black Power movement. It was the Vietnam War. It was the women's movement. It was birth control came in pills all of a sudden. So women could, yes, be able to have a sexual experience without getting pregnant, provided you took your pills properly and all of that kind of thing. And this stuff, which was not the way it was before. Now, am I going to say that the pills are totally helpful for everybody? No. I mean, it depends your own health and what your own situation is. But for the most part, they were okay. So I came of age in my 20s at that point. And did I participate in a lot of stuff? Yeah, I did. I did.
Well, but you have to remember, Audrey, because in those days, it was different then.
It was.
1967 was make love, not war. It was a flower power. It was everybody was working to make, to care for each other, to love each other. We still had the Vietnam War, and that became a point of contention and protest. But times were different then. People were different then.
My generation, or the one right before me, I mean, some crossover. I mean, I always thought I was a baby boomer, and now I read, oh no, you're from the silent generation. And it's like, I'm not silent, although I was as a kid. So whatever. I mean, I don't even want the label, because my mentality is what it is. I call myself cosmic because I am. If I'm put in these boxes and then I don't fit it, well, you don't fit that. I never said I did. But we were, other than the people in the 20s, which was 40 years earlier, so like way earlier, we were the ones who started to really take a look around and go, no, we're not having it. And why some people are shocked at, quote, Gen Z not wanting to do certain things. I don't know how many people in my generation wanted to go to a job that they hated. I didn't. I had no interest in doing work I hated. That never made sense to me, ever. It still doesn't, okay? And if it's important for people to find their passion and their abilities and maximize that and find a way to appropriately monetize that. There are so many people, and it's not like I don't understand. I ended up being the sole support of my daughter. So I know what it is to have to create finances to support not only one's own self, but whomever else one might be responsible for. And I'm not saying I made this kind of money, but I did make enough to take care of us and all of that kind of thing. Too many people don't inquire within themselves, or they think they're never going to get there. And I know what that's like. Okay. But if you don't, if one doesn't really look at who am I, what makes me tick, why am I here? And if you're wondering, do I answer those questions in readings? Yes, I do. Then you're not going to have a happy life.
Well,
Because
no, I'm sorry, but you did notice that in the opening, one of the things that I say is why, asking the question, why are you really here and what are you here to do, is fundamental to beginning to understand who you really are, so that you can begin to make steps. And it's not easy sometimes, but to
no,
take steps to live your best life and to really understand how it all works, and that we're all one, and that we all care for one another, and we can raise the vibration of the planet. We can do some great things. Audrey, I got to tell you, you are amazing, and
well,
I'm really I'm really glad to be talking to you. We need to take a station break. When we come back, we're going to talk about her art and the other aspects of her life and what she does. We might even address the vegan choices that she makes a little bit. I don't know. Being a former chicken seller, I'm not exactly sure whether or not I should go there. But in any event, we're talking with Audrey Arbe, and we're going to be right back after these quick messages.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. That commercial, Covenant House, started when you were 30 years old. You know that?
I know that I've gotten some of their booklets and have used it in some of my courses. They're amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're amazing.
It is, isn't it hard? It's hard for me to contemplate that in the United States of America, there are 4.2 million either homeless kids or trafficked kids in the greatest country in the world. And there is people that are going hungry, people that don't have clean water. In your mystic, intuitive self, have you reached a conclusion that we're going to be able to fix and address some of these problems?
All right. So what I actually really feel is that some people are going to go under. It may not be them. There's a lot of people living in denial about whether we even have global warming. There are people that don't want to acknowledge, even if they see theft in front of them, that it's actually theft. So I do think there's a lot of I think the fancy word is cognitive dissonance, something like that. And there are other big, big, big words. And it's like not wanting to see what's right there. And those persons and anybody who has any aspect of them, of that within them, which could be anybody, who perpetuate that and keep doing it, they're not going to make it. They may think they're going to, they're not. And we need to be close to the earth, which is interesting because when I came to Costa Rica, I wasn't even thinking that, but there is something about it. And I'm not living, okay, in some huge palatial $1,000 a day retreat. No, I'm living rather simply. And I'll be moving into a smaller house in a more bustling little area, Puerto Viejo, if you've heard of it. That's where I will be. And having a little more of activity in their life than I'm having right now in where I'm living now in Kawita. Um, but I think a lot of people are waking up, and a lot of people are still like this. And the waking up, I feel, is absolutely going to be what's happening. Pluto is now in Aquarius. It is going to go back into Capricorn in September. And then in November 19th, it's going to go forward actually in Aquarius and stay there for the next 19 years, 19, 20 years. In about 2 years, Neptune changes sign from Pisces, which it's in now, its rulership. It's going to go into Aries, which will be a whole moving forward with mystic and the way we see things. Uranus is going to change signs. So it's going to be a major change of mentality across the globe. A person does not have to know anything about astrology. I don't care if someone believes, doesn't believe, it's irrelevant. It's like, I don't care if you believe in breathing. To me, it's important, and I like to get clean air. If you want to think differently, that's up to you. It's your choice. So I do think there's going to be major change. Do I think there might be some chaos in the process? Yeah, I do. I really do. Because I know, and I have people giving me flack for the next thing I'm going to say. There are countries that are all worried because their birth rates are going down. I am so glad. I am so glad at the moment that the birth rate is going down, because years ago, when I was looking at, what's the name of it? It'll come back. The name of the organization just kind of flitted out of my mind for the moment. But they do studies in the United States and on the globe. I see it. It has to come out of my mouth. Okay, on how many babies are happening in this year, and which particular group of the population is doing that, and how many babies are out of wedlock, and they don't use that term. How many are unwanted, unintended, blah, 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 blah. And it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. And I first looked at this. Oh, God. Let's see, I am 80. Geez. The numbers are, when I say these numbers, I shock myself. Okay, I do. Okay. So when I was in my 20s, okay, and I moved into the city, and now I'm in my 80s, I literally am. And so I was looking at certain things damn, darn, with a G, the Institute, it will come out of my mouth soon. And I read about, because I went to the UN because I wanted to be of help, okay? And I didn't like that women didn't know how to use birth control. As I said, when birth control pills became available, I was excited because I was then, let's just say, able to start another part of my life that had not yet been started. I was a little later than some people doing that. That made up for it. And then that the level of people, including now, that don't use, and in the United States, I'm not even going to talk about wherever, don't use birth control of some kind or another. And we have enough options, and then wonder how they got pregnant. And I'm a big supporter of women. I am major. My books are all, I'm big time. I'm born under the sun sign of Cancer. In both Vedic astrology and in Western astrology. I am a champion for women, but it's women's rights and women's responsibilities. If women don't use birth control and have sex with somebody that can have them have a baby, okay, and then they get pregnant, and it's, oh my God, I'm pregnant. My first question is, were you using birth control? And if not, why not? And not as a, that it's an inquiry. Why isn't somebody being responsible for their body and what it can do? We have to respect this whole thing and what we can do with it. And then that's why, by the way, I'll say it straight out, that's why we will have pregnancy termination, because the woman doesn't want the child, didn't do what might have been able to be done. And sometimes they can't. This is not me condemning women. So nobody needs to write in Audrye bashed women. That's not what I am doing, okay? I am saying we do have choice for the most part, and it's incumbent upon us, especially in this day and age, to use that choice with wisdom and not play the victim. This whole victim thing is over. It's over.
If Audrey, if I could add one thing to that discussion, and that would be this, because not a woman, as you can probably tell, I hope, um, but I am a man, and we had a saying in our house that was number one, KYPIP, which meant keep your Peter in your pants. Number
Oh,
one.
okay.
And number two, if you choose not to do that, it is also the male's responsibility to protect themselves and the person that they are with from pregnancy, sexual diseases, and other things by wearing what I'll affectionately call a raincoat, so that they can, so that they can take an equal responsibility for that and not just say, well, that's her responsibility, I just don't know, that and stuff. So I think we're equally responsible, and because we're all together and stuff, we need to take care of each other in that way. And by the way, dads, if you do become a father, and this is just me talking again, if you make a baby, you're responsible for that baby until it turns 18 years old. Don't think that you can just walk away from it, because if you do, you're not a man. And that, so sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And here's the thing, I have seen men taking a very active role in fatherhood from the get go. And when they really care, when men really care, they're not women. We're different. We have different frequency, different energy, all of that kind of stuff. Even the non binary. I'm not going to get into all the possibilities and gender identifications
Doesn't
people
matter.
can have and intersex. I'm not going to do all that right now. Be aware that I have an awareness. So I'll just simply talk male, female, just for ease in conversation. He, him, she, her, and them. Uh, when I have seen men be dads right from the get go, and they really care, it brings something out in them. They're still men, and all of that kind of stuff. But they can make wonderful fathers. I don't know if enough men understand that part of the sex appeal, and I like sexy men, okay, whatever that might be for me, just so we understand that. Um, Part of the appeal is somebody who can feel, who has some level of sensitivity, who has caring. A woman does not want a brute as her partner. She may want him to be however she'll define male, like however he may define female. But if he doesn't have sensitivity and caring, he is never going to understand her, because we women live in that. It's what kind of makes us happen. But part of being a woman, and I don't care how one got to be a woman, okay, but part of really being a woman is this whole feeling of cooperation and helping each other. And some of us are very intuitive. I mean, I'm a walking intuitive, but everybody's got some ability in that area. And if a man has none of that, zip, or doesn't let it awaken, how is he going to understand his lady? How is he going to understand women? He won't get it. He
That,
won't understand. And that's been part of the problem on the earth. Go.
yes, indeed. By the way, do you know what song they're playing in the background there?
I think so. It's from way back, way back. I can't think of the name, but yes.
It's
The light of thing of rain.
it's a uh, something pale of shit. I had it. I had it.
That's the one. Yes. A lighter pale of, no, I was going to say a lighter pale of shade. That's not the name.
No, but it was a big song in the '60s, and so I
Yes.
just yeah,
Yes. Yes.
I think that it was just brilliant that. And by the way, that is your neighbor that is playing that and stuff.
Okay.
And so I
Costa
think.
Rica.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, and I really appreciate you being here. By the way, we are talking again with Audrey, Albe, and Arbe, excuse me, Arbe, and go to our website, which is audreyeNow.com, and she's got online courses, she's got art, she's got books, she's a speaker, she's a clairvoyant, and we haven't really touched on your nonprofit yet. Can we do that when we come back?
Sure. And I spell my name Audrye. So it's Audrey now, but spelled my way.
Right. I get the feeling, young lady, that just about everything is done your way in your house.
Probably.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
Thank you.
A lifetime of savings can disappear overnight. Millions of dollars are stolen every day from unsuspecting older adults by family members, caregivers, and trusted professionals. If you suspect financial exploitation, call the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116 or go online to the National Adult Protective Services Association to be connected with help in your area.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and you're listening to the Brushwood Media Network. You know, they give me some PSAs to run, and I really enjoy the PSAs that I've chosen to run. One is about dads being dads. One is about Covenant House and helping children and kids find a home and to get protection. And then elder care. You and I know what that's all about, don't we?
It's so interesting you say that, because I had a vibe to call a couple of people I haven't spoken with in a while. There was no longer a connection from the phone to them. So I think they may no longer be on the earth.
You know,
And
I gotta tell you, because this has been on my mind a lot. You know, it's interesting that there are a lot of people that seem to be leaving the planet right now. And my girlfriend from high school passed away a year ago. My brother passed away 3 years ago. My best friend from high school passed away 2 years ago. And they were all in their 60s. What is up with that? How come you? Is it the veganism or is it everything else that you're doing?
no, vegan is, no, that'll keep you healthy. It is, in my personal opinion, done properly. I mean, a person can say they're a vegan and they live on Coca-Cola and pizza. That'll kill them. That's not a vegan, okay? Not the way I am. But eating holistically, I mean, I eat for the most part organic, and I know it costs more. And can I always prove? No, okay? And mostly raw, actual food, not in a jar or whatever. I've been doing this I've been vegetarian for 50 plus years. And out of that, about 20 or 25, I don't remember exactly, I've been vegan. And then I've honed it where I'm mostly, not totally, mostly raw vegan. And I love it. And if somebody thinks I'm just saying it and whatever, blah, 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 there is still a movie, I think, on Netflix called The Changing Game. It's about athletes, their coach. I don't recall in the movie how he got onto this vegan awareness, but had them all become vegan. They won more games, they got stronger. Their bloods and whatever they examined them with or about was better. There have been some studies with twins that one ate, they gave them like food, they prepared the food. One ate not vegan, one ate vegan, and the vegan one was healthier. So a lot of people are afraid of it because of conditioning. And if somebody goes against someone else's conditioning, sometimes it becomes a thing where a person feels they're protecting their right to live. It's not what it is. It's like when I find a way that's more healthy but delicious. I like delicious. I don't do yucky food. And it's going to help me be healthy. That's a win, 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 win. Like, for instance, chocolate. Do you like chocolate?
Oh, oh, don't be silly.
Okay, so I love chocolate, okay? And I live in Costa Rica where they grow the stuff. And it comes in a pod that's sort of this shape. And when it's ripe, it's sort of a yellow, kind of a yellow, with some brown sort of like stripes. So when I can get it. They don't have it in Coweta. You have to be in Puerto Viejo. And I do my best to get it from the people that have the farm so I can get some information, because I am so not into harming anyone. That's just no. And we don't get it in Africa. It's Costa Rica. You get it right here. And what I didn't know is when you like cut off the ends of the pod and kind of push the sort of like seeds, it's not really seeds, out, they've got this gooey kind of coating thing all around them. And I forgot what it's called. It's a term. And what I do, raw vegan, is I stick it in my dehydrator at 110 degrees, which keeps the enzymes alive, which is why raw vegan. The enzymes are alive, and that's where we get the nutrition and the energy, which is why the purpose of it for the most part. And I make a thing called mustard. And yes, you can get the recipe. I have a book, Vim, Vigor, Vitality, Vegan. It's in there. And you get free
Oh.
samples of all my books on the website. Do you want me to give the recipe? I can give quick the recipe.
Yeah, but before I forget again, I've got to tell you, Greater Shade of Pale. That's the name of that song that was playing in the background earlier. And it's like, it's like my synopsises were searching for it, and it took a while for my computer to come up with it. But it's Greater Shade.
Good for you. Thank you.
Huh?
Yes. Okay, now I'm coming back to.
Yeah. So is this mustard a chocolate mustard?
No, I call it nustard, meaning instead of custard, it's nustard because you use nuts. So it's made with cacao. And if you can't get the pods, which you're not going to be able to get them in the States, okay, either go to your health food store and get what's called raw organic cacao nibs, NIBS. Am I going to swear it's raw? I'm not going to swear anything. But use that. My favorite nut to use for this, because it makes it the creamiest, is cashews. And get raw organic. Don't get salted. Don't get oil. That's not going to do this. I mean, do what you're going to do. But if you really want the health benefits and for it to taste really delicious, do it like this. Sweeten with dates, DATES. Get organic, because we don't know what this stuff has been sprayed with. Nobody knows. At least I don't know. Maybe other people know all of the different spraying that can go on. And do I trust that we're all being told the truth about it? Personally, I do not. Okay, which is why I took responsibility for my own health when I was in my 20s, because I looked around and I said no. And that was that. And so, okay, you have the nuts, cacao. You use the best water you have. I use Kangen water because I'm a distributor. And if by any chance you are lucky enough, which in Costa Rica we are, and in Florida you might be, to get actual coconut water, not the stuff in a box or a can. Forget that. As far as I'm concerned, and I made a promise I'm going to use better language than I used on another show. So,
Well, thank you for that.
Okay, I didn't use it wasn't a curse word. It just wasn't. Don't use that stuff. It isn't what it says it is. I would not even allow it in my house. Okay, so either use the good quality water or the actual coconut water that you crack a coconut and pour it out. Not in a can, not in a box, not in a bottle. It's not that. It is different. I use a little bit of organic almond extract, and I think you need a Vitamix to make it, because you're going to be blending up the nuts. And you use quickie recipe, about 3 cups of water, a cup before it was soaked, a little over a cup of the nuts. Soak it for about 5 hours, because there's something in nuts that I forgot what it's called. I don't know if I ever memorized what it's called. That's hard to digest. So you soak it for about 5 hours, pour off the water, and then you can eat it. 6 dates without the pits, a little bit, maybe a capful of the almond extract. What am I leaving out? Oh, and the cacao. You can't leave out the cacao. Okay, I put in a good handful. And I like chocolate. And then you mix it up in your Vitamix. And the reason I'm saying a Vitamix, the regular blenders don't have the strength to blend it and make it a real creamy deliciousness. It can come out lumpy and bumpy, and that's not what you want. Then you pour that in some whatever container, stick it in the fridge, and when it gets cold, you will have mustard. Okay, I serve it with what do I use? Either pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. I use blueberries. Blueberries are very important to eat. Banana, or here in Costa Rica, I use a whole lot of plantain because they are richer in terms of nutrition. And I'm into this. This is how I
I can
live.
tell.
Okay.
I can tell.
And
Now, is
eat
this
that
all in
shit.
your book, Vim, Vigor, Vitality, Vegan? And that is again also on her website. So audreyenow.com is
Yeah.
where you need to go, and you can actually buy it from her, and that would be really nice for you to do that. And she's got 4 different books. A couple of them we're not going to touch on. We're not going to have time. But you're an author, and you've been doing this for a while. You love everything that you do, and you do everything that you love. Is that a appropriate response?
It is. That really is true. I've gotten to that. Yes. Isn't that amazing? That was not always the case.
I know,
I
and now it's
love
keeping you
that.
young.
It is. Okay. Shall I give you part of what I feel is part of what, by the way, in Vim, Vigor, Vitality, Vegan, the first half of the book is health tips. Okay.
Yes.
My thoughts and ideas about that. And the rest are recipes. And this was before I was raw vegan. Now I've got a lot more. I'm just not writing them up and all that. It's just different here in Costa Rica. But I make stuff up all the time. But yeah, if you want to stay young, 1, meditate. Do some kind of meditating. You need to center. We all do. Breathing attunements. And I was going to do some here. So let me tell you a quick, simple, easy one. I do a little more complicated. If you even inhale to a slow count of 4, hold to a slow count of 4, exhale to a slow count of 4, hold that to a slow count of 4. Do it 3 times. When you are finished, you will be more centered.
That is true. I've done that. That works.
And anyone can do this.
And meditation. Now that doesn't mean, I know there's somebody going, I don't want to spend 2 hours meditating. It doesn't mean that. It means that you're
No.
going to take a couple of moments and you're going to center yourself, and you can help yourself stay calm and not get angry about things. But just, even if it's just for 5 minutes, even if it's just for 3 minutes, if you're listening to a favorite song like Greater Shade of Pale or something like that you're listening to, you can do that and meditate at the same time. Just breathe. And you can, and that's really important. By the way, we've just got about a minute, and I want you to give you a minute to talk about anything that you would like to say.
Okay. If anybody would like to slow down global warming and climate change, be vegan 1 day a week. And don't double up on meat the other days. 1 day every single week. Pass that along. That's going to change the rate of climate change tremendously. 2, on a whole, be kind to yourself. Be kind to people. Re-energize kindness. That's going to change your frequency. And one of the biggest things, and I'll tell you how to reach me, by the way, one of the biggest things now is knowing how to love yourself. And of course, I have a course on that, the Morph course. If you don't know how to love yourself, that's Audrey Now, AudryeNow.com/morph. And it's morph into the magic of self-love. Anyone can reach me by phone. I have a US SIM card, so it's like calling New York. Can I give my number?
Yeah.
My number is 917-494-0628. 917-494-0628. I'm also on WhatsApp, in case you're wherever you are. I'm definitely on WhatsApp. And the website, Audrey Now, AudryeNow.com. We're going to start putting in, I'm so excited about this. I have a VA because techie is somebody that's not my strongest suit. I'm stronger at all these other things. He's going to be putting, Eduardo, the podcasts where I'm a guest so people can listen. So I'm going to ask you whatever you want us to say about you in this, please include that because we will put that in. as well as I now paint frequency stones, because you can get rocks in Costa Rica, and I don't just grab up rocks, and I paint them, I bless them, I meditate on them. They have crystals. It's important to be grounded as well as uplifted. And rocks, the old ones, are a very good way to get grounded. And you can also program your own frequency stone. And on the website, I teach how to do that. So, people, the biggest thing I want to leave you with is love yourself. And in the midst of all this whatnot and hoo-ha that may be going on, do whatever you can to be centered and uplift yourself daily. Daily. You are important.
Go ahead. Finish that statement.
You are important. You count. You make a difference. And thank you.
Audrye Arbe has been our guest, and I want to thank her. She's going to have to come back because there's so much more to talk about, and an hour just isn't enough time. So, but I want to thank everybody, and Audrye, thank you, and enjoy your move. I hate moving, personally, but enjoy your move in Costa Rica. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We are a production of KMmedia.pro, a full-service media company. Whether it is audio, video, shorts, or longer pieces, we're able to take each project from beginning to final product within your time frame and on budget. Visit KMmedia.pro for more details about us and to get started on your project. We also would like to thank the Brushwood Media Network for all their support. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com to find out more about them and the quality shows featured on the network. Until then, we'll see you next time. My name again is Kevin McDonald, and please remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.